What's going on, guys? Steel here, and today we are looking at the Alpha Strike dev server. I'm going to basically quick fire these. I'm going to cover some of the vehicles. A lot of stuff this patch was copy and paste or premium. And yeah, just going to try and get this done as quick as possible. So first up is the F20 Tiger Shark. This is rank 8, battle rating 12.0. It will cost you $75. Basically, it's an F5 on steroids. So you have a new engine. It's very similar to the Kafir, where it's taking an existing airframe, a light airframe, slapping a big old engine in it, and yeah, it's a light airframe with a really powerful engine, and it has some advanced avionics. Can carry up to 6 AIM-9Ls or 2 9Ls and 2 Sparrows if you want, and for ground, you get AGM-65Bs, which aren't really, I mean, you can make them work with the F5 and the F20 and all that stuff, but especially at the top tier battle rating, it's honestly, it's a bit of a struggle. You kind of need more advanced Mavericks. You need some sort of infrared Maverick, which these are not. So these kind of struggle. So is it worth $75? In my opinion, no, it is not worth $75. It does have very, very fun flight performance. You can take this exact loadout and you can go above Mach, no problem, with the afterburner on, something which the F5E will kind of struggle to do. It pretty much won't want to get past Mach at around like 2,000 meters like I was in the F20. So yeah, for $75 at battle rating 12.0 to only have AIM-9Ls, not be able to carry, from what I've heard rumored, you should be able to carry more Sparrows on these 2 pylons right here. So you should technically be able to carry 6 9Ls and 2 Sparrows. But that's just a rumor that I heard. I'm not really sure if that is correct. Yeah, if you could do that, it would maybe be worth it. But for ARB at 12.0, you're going to be fighting planes with R73s, R27ERs, AIM-9Ms, plenty of flares to go around. You have only 45 countermeasures, so if you want to try and get more countermeasures, you have to use these rocket pods. So yeah, while it is an excellent plane in terms of flight performance, it just can't compete with the competition that it's going to be up against. And unfortunately, because it is a top-tier premium, it is an American top-tier premium, and it's the F20 Tiger Shark, I am sure there is going to be... let me rephrase. I am sure it is going to be very, very cancer and ruin top tier, because half of your team are going to be complete morons flying a plane that they can't do well in. So, yeah. That's the F20 Tiger Shark. It's really just the highlight of the patch, more so than what it's named after, which I'll get to in just a second. Yeah, the F20 Tiger Shark, in my opinion, is not worth $75. If for some reason you have to have this vehicle, just stick it with your top-tier American ground lineup if you have not ground out the American air tree this far, or have something like the Viper or the F-14B. So, yeah, in my opinion, in ARB, this thing is going to get absolutely shat on, and it's going to ruin the top-tier matchmaker, and it's just not going to be able to compete. Anyways, moving on to tanks. The Americans get the Super M60, the 120S, which is named. It's an M60 with a 120. It has M829A1, which is pretty potent for 10.0. It has a 17-round ready rack. If you take 18 rounds, you can get away with all of them in the back rack. However, if you take something like 20 rounds, it's going to put 2 rounds of ammo right here. Personally, I think that's really stupid, and it's just a nerf by Gaijin to prevent this vehicle from being as strong hull down or something like that as it could be. So yeah, if you want to take more than 18 rounds, you're pretty much screwed. But if you decide to play it in a ridgeline, if you can get there, obviously you can tell, pretty glaring turret ring neck weak spot here, but because of its height, it can sit behind a lot of hard cover that other vehicles that are too low, or even some of the Abrams, can't even sit behind. So that is kind of nice. And working a ridgeline, the turret is so far removed from the hull that it's definitely going to take a shot or two to knock the crew out completely. And I'm pretty sure this is just a basic M1 Abrams turret, although I will check the M1, which is actually a higher battle rating, obviously, because it's on the actual M1 hull. Oh, no, actually, yeah, okay. It has maybe the M1IP's inserts, or M1A1s. I would assume M1A1 because it's a 120. Yeah, so it does have a stronger turret than the M1 Abrams. So hull down, this thing should be pretty potent at 10.0, and in the down tier, even more so. Obviously, again, the glaring weak point is the turret ring and the fact that it's on an M60 hull. But if you're somebody who's played the M60 AMBT, you're pretty familiar with what this is going to be. It's a 120 on an M60 chassis. Obviously, the difference being here is this is still an M60 turret, and this is an M1 Abrams turret. So yeah, that's what you're going to expect. The AH-1W is in both the American tech tree and the Chinese tech tree. Basically, it's the first helicopter in the game for an American heli that has Zunis. So back when the S-13 rocket rushing was pretty cancer, people were like, well, if you're going to let the Russians do it with S-13s, why can't we with Zunis? So now you have the chance to use Zunis in a rocket rush if you decide to do that, but those times are pretty much over. The AH-1Z, unfortunately, still does not have Zunis, which is a crime. So yeah, if you don't have the Zuni, or not the Zuni, the Z, the H1Z, like me, you get cracking, because this thing, and honestly, in my opinion, is completely pointless. Moving on, Germany. Germany got, I believe, yep, just this AAA for 6.0. There was some controversy about this because I guess it was supposed to be in a Whirlwind turret, but it's actually on this thing. Personally, all the pictures I've seen of this thing, it's in this exact configuration with no like specific turret. It's Mark 103s, so the very good 30mm German cannon at battle rating 6.0. It gets a full HVAP belt, which I believe the Kugelblitz was nerfed a long time ago and no longer has it. Yep, it's just one HVAP and then two HEI, and then it recycles. So yeah, at 6.0, this thing's going to be pretty funny to just shred a bunch of the M18s and other light vehicles running around and be pretty cancer for aircraft. Personally, did Germany need this? Not really. The Oswin 2 and the Whirlwind are still very sufficient and can punch well above their battle rating. And obviously the Kugelblitz at 7.0, once you get to that battle rating, is pretty potent as well, considering its turret to first buff, I believe it was a year or two ago now. So yeah, personally, I don't think the Germans really needed this, but there you go. You're going to get 50 killed fairly easily. But if you decide to get the modification, which folds up the side skirts or the side panels, you're going to be pretty limited at what you can actually kill on the ground. Moving on to aircraft. Both France and Germany got the Alpha Jet. Currently, this thing is a complete joke and a shell of what it should have been. It's currently, for some reason, battle rating 9.0 or 9.3 or whatever. Personally, I think it should be a 9.7 or 10.0 aircraft. It is capable of carrying AIM-9Ls, and I believe the French one is capable of carrying Magic 1s or Magic 2s. They both should have plenty of guided ordnance options for being basically a light attack jet. So, in my opinion, this is a pretty big embarrassment currently. As you can see, it's stuck with Mighty Mouses or Snebs if you're playing the French one, napalm, and just normal bombs, and a 27mm Mauser cannon. So yeah, and I believe the French one is supposed to use a Defa instead of 30mm. So yeah, I think these things are not very, very complete, and I hope they go up in battle rating and they get the guided ordnance that they need. Very similar to something like the Super Intendard, which is 10.0. Has very good flight performance for 10.0. Still not an afterburning jet, but it does get Magic 1s and laser guided ordnance. So hopefully the Alpha Jets can do that, but considering their placement in the tech tree, I don't really have much hope for that. I would prefer if these aircraft were up a little bit more and use their actual guided ordnance. So yeah, that's unfortunate. But once again, just taking a quick look at it, that is just the Alpha Jet. Unfortunately, like I said, pretty big joke. I know people that have been waiting for the Alpha Jet for so long, but there's just better options in the game for ground attack. Like, I mean, even this Hunter is better with 2 Mavericks and, you know, it's in flares. But yeah, it's just unfortunate, really. Moving on to Russia. I don't believe they got anything. Oh, wait, no, that's right. Yeah, so they have the T-80UD. It's a T-80U with no thermals. At 10.0, uses 3 BM-42s, its top APF SDS round. Contact 5, though, which for 10.0 is pretty good, Contact 5. And it has a diesel engine. And from what I've seen of it, it's slower than the gas turbine T-80s, so I'm not really sure if it's worth it. But if you're a masochist, I mean, hey, buy it. But personally, as a above average player, I would say that I could very easily do well at 10.0 Russia with the T-80UD, the 2S38, the Terms, the BMP-2M, and the Strela, which, fight me, the Strela is way too fucking good for 10.0 and should be an 11.0 vehicle, especially because they just added the new Shilka. What is it? It's a Shilka with some extra rubber screens and stuff, and Iglas. So, yeah, there you go. You get Iglas on the back. At 9.3, that should be pretty potent. It's a Shilka, so pretty good to close in with its guns, and then you have the Iglas to take out helicopters and obviously high-flying aircraft. So, yeah, pretty decent. People have been wanting this Shilka for a while, and honestly, it is well placed in the tree. You get the normal Shilka at 8.0, and then you get 9.3, and you get the improved Shilka. So, yeah, pretty neat. But yeah, I don't really know if this thing was necessary. This is, how many T80Us do we have now? 1, 2, 3, or that's not 1, 3, and then 4. So yeah, we have 4 T80Us. In total, we have 6 T80s in general. But yeah, not really worth it in my opinion. But hey, it's a premium bonuses. Basically, do you want more protection because you have Contact 5 at 10.0? Or do you want something like the Terms, which has good optics because it's using a foreign French or Italian site or something like that? So yeah, do you want thermals and optics with less protection because you're a T72A with some Contact 1? Or do you want no thermals but you get Contact 5? So yeah, that's your trade-off there with your premiums. Moving on to the aviation, we now have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Su-25s. The 6th Su-25, well, technically 39 if you want to be fancy. The Su-25 SM3 is different in the fact that it trades the ability to carry Vikers, like the 25T and the 39 can, for the ability to have a thermal optic, so you can actually spot targets better than those two can. And you have KH-38s. KH-38 MLs being laser and MTs being thermal or optical, whatever. I heard that these do work at night though, so should be thermal. Yeah, basically these things, I will inspect it for a minute, are pretty neat. They are the farthest range AGM in the Russian tech tree now, I believe. 40 kilometers total or 25 miles, whatever it is. So yeah, pretty potent, and being able to fire and forget and all that stuff is pretty neat. And yeah, like I said, you have the ability to use thermal, but you've lost the ability to use Vikers. So, you know, this is pretty much what it would look like. Some S13s, some R73s, and some KH-38s. So, I mean, it makes a big boom. I honestly would rather have the ability to see things with thermal and make a big boom than not see them and use Vikers. But yeah, either way, this should be, hopefully, the last Frogfoot. We still haven't gotten the A10C, which is very unfortunate. I would very much like the A10C to be in game, even if it's probably going to suck. But yeah, anyways, there you go. Your 6th Su-25 in the game with a fancy schmancy new missile. So, basically the trade-off is, do you want something like the MiG-29 SMT, which can take 2 KH-29s and 4 R-73s, or, I mean, you can take 2 29s, 2 KAB-500s, and then 2 R-73s. So do you want the flight performance of a MiG-29 with some ground attack options, or do you want full-on ground attack with obviously a lesser airframe for when it comes to dealing with the aircraft? But hey, it carries R-73s, so who knows, right? But yeah, that's the new Su-25. Moving on to Great Britain. They got, in their tank tree, they got the Fox. Basically, if you thought the AML-90 was annoying, you now have a vehicle to counter them. You have the same gun that's in the Warrior, except you have a 4-round magazine per reload rather than 6, because I believe the Warrior still fires 6 rounds and then reloads. If I'm wrong on that, correct me in the comments. But yeah, it's a fast little wheelie boy. It's a little bit of a rat tank. No thermal optics or anything, but yeah, you're going to be able to murder the AML-90 rats quite nicely. For aircraft, they got the Buccaneer S2B, which we all see on stream. Pretty sure Mike was alluding that this data link pod right here should allow you to manually guide these in flight, and I guess you're going to kind of be able to spectate the missile by holding down like the U key or whatever and then guiding it in. Like the old days when you used to be able to use the guidance or on the bullpup and spectate it and basically fire them off the airfield, guide them almost their entire range, and hit people from the airfield. That was a pretty cancer time. If you don't remember it, don't even ask. It's PTSD inducing. But yeah, so at the moment, these missiles, the AJ-168 Martel, is an anti-ship missile that fires through data link. But at the moment, they basically just operate the same as a Maverick would. It's just a optically guided air-to-ground missile. That's basically all you're going to use it for. Since the way Gaijin has ships set up, anti-ship missiles don't hit where they should. But until they do, yeah, just for ground ordnance. And it can carry some laser-guided bombs as well and AIM-9Ls, which the trade out is, do you want AIM-9Ls to shoot down planes in a ground battle, maybe? Or do you want more ground ordnance? So, yeah, that's the Buccaneer S2. Moving on to Japan. Japan got the Type 90B Fuji. The Type 90B Fuji is just a Type 90B with a camo net and premium bonuses. Very, very potent in terms of reload, but other than that, I mean, the Type 90 is the Type 90. Personally, probably the best premium for grinding the Japanese tree. If you own the Type 16 FPS, even though it uses M735, it's a decent backup, I guess, if you decide to run these two together. But the Type 74G was always kind of junk. This is pretty decent, except for the round being pretty lackluster. But yeah, looking forward to it. The Japanese tree is in need of some love, and if it wasn't for past problems between the Japanese and the Koreans, we could have potentially had a Japanese and South Korean tech tree combined, but that's a video for another day. Unfortunately, I am somewhat ignorant to the subject, but yeah, it's unfortunate. I wish I could see South Korean vehicles be mixed in with the Japanese vehicles to offer more potent lineups, but until then, that is unfortunate. Moving on to China, they have the ZBD-04A. It's basically a BMD-4 on a what China calls a heavy IFV chassis. It has 6 degrees of gun depression. It has a very long reload for its ATGM. Aced, it is 20 seconds, but it does get darts, unlike the BMP-3, which is still stuck with basic Sabo, which I think is also 9.3. It might be still 9.0, but either way, this thing, literally, if you get up under its gun and it can't hit you, you're pretty much set. So, yeah, that can happen a lot with this vehicle. It is amphibious, though, and I don't believe it has pneumatic suspension. But yeah, it's kind of mid. If you shoot right here with any potent APF-STS round from a main gun, like on like an MBT or something, you're gonna hit the driver in the face and hit the gunner in the nuts and kill the thing. So, yeah. But for autocannons, it might actually have decent protection. I'm not really sure. It has composite screens there and as well as here. So, yeah, who knows? It might actually be potent against other IFV autocannons, but beyond that, I'm sure it'll be pretty easy to handle otherwise. That was pretty much it for China, I believe. For Italy, for ground, they have the Centauro RGO Premium. Do not buy this thing. It does not have the applique armor like here between the wheel wells and then here and all that stuff. So this cannot stop autocannons the same way that the Tech Tree Centauro 120 can. It's really honestly not worth it. You're still better off buying the VRCC or the OF40 if you can, because honestly, one, they just have better lineups that you have better access to, and yeah, they're just honestly, in my opinion, just better for grinding. This thing is just complete junk, in my opinion. For aircraft, they got the Hungarian vehicles, and by that I mean basically a bunch of Russian vehicles and then the Gripen. So, yeah. All this copy and paste, not really too special. The Gripen, however, does get the AGM-65G and the AGM-65H. This is the first plane in the game to get the Golf and the Hotel. So, let's pop that on right there. I don't think it's letting me mount them. There we go. AGM-65G, AGM-65H. Basically, the H has the CCD seeker, basically just gives it better track rate and stuff, and the G has a SAP HE warhead. In my testing, the G is more reliable. For some reason, Mavericks are going for weird parts of the tank, and I would rather have HE overpressure than heat. So, yeah, and just, it's weird. In my experience in testing, Mavericks are being really weird on the dev server. But, yeah, the G is the better option here, in my opinion. But otherwise, it's just a Gripen. Everybody already knows Gripen spams AIM-9Ms and has a bunch of flares on the bowl dispenser. So, yeah, that's pretty much it with the Gripen. I was going to make a separate video specifically for this, but honestly, I mean, it's whatever. It's just a Gripen with some fancy Mavericks. So, yeah. Anyways, moving on to France. The Alpha Jet. I already covered it. Lol. The VTT DCA, it's just a French infantry transport with 50 cals on it. So, cool. At 3.0, could shred some light vehicles. Might be pretty fun to use. Moving on to Sweden. Premium, copy-paste. Same thing as the Leopard Panzer Battalion. It's just a Leopard 2A4 with a camo net. Although it got some fancy-smancy modern smoke dischargers, and I do believe the thermal is the same. I thought it was supposed to be like an upgrade to bring it up to the 122B standard, but I believe the thermal is the same. No extra like commander thermal or anything like that. So yeah, just another copy and paste premium. But that was pretty much it for Sweden. Moving on to Israel. Israel gets the Ram Seagal, Merkava Mark III, with a laser warning system that was in real life intended to turn the turret towards that laser warning and fire off smoke grenades to obscure it. Basically the earliest form of soft kill protection. So yeah, in game they're not going to do that because it would be really intrusive to gameplay. Good thinking by Gaijin for once. They actually foresaw a problem. But yeah, basically in game it's a premium Merkava Mark III at BR 11.0 and you get extra smoke dischargers. So I would say that's pretty neat. Although it still has that stupid smoke mortar thing that kind of gets in the middle, and I kind of hate that. I wish you could just get rid of this personally. Don't really like it. But yeah, anyways, another copy and paste premium. And that is pretty much it for the Alpha Strike update so far on the dev server. Oh wait, I forgot about this thing. Oh yeah. Anyways, it's a Blackhawk with 16 spikes. What more could you want? And a 30 mil. Oh wait, that actually reminds me. Hold on. I forgot. If you have the American Blackhawk, they finally added the 30 mil, the GAU 19, and the M134. So yeah, more options for that. I forgot to cover the helicopter. Yeah, let's just not acknowledge 16 spikes. Pretty neat. I don't think I need to explain why that's hilarious. But yeah, anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Share the video with your friends. And as always, I am Steel, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.